Here we go, Dan Double O Alpha and DNZ in row 1 with Jay Bracer and Poppy Keats right behind him. Rudester, the Knight Who Says Knee in row 3. Outer Unknown and Ferris in row 4. El Dunno and Red Rider in row 5. That is your starting grid, folks, as you look your way down through. Green lights a coming. Let's get her clean. Let's have a race for 45 minutes. Green light, and here we go. Down into T1, 3 wide already. People being a little more cautious this time. We've still got folks going wide off into the dirt, but no contact as of yet.
Jesus.
Clean up front to this point, and a bump and a push a little further back. Stan Lee off into the dirt after I believe El Dermo hit him. I could be wrong there, but Stan Lee well off into the grass. As we jump back up front here, Dan Double O Alpha now this time able to hold on to P1. Thank you so much, Meerkat Lady. I love you for it. You're awesome. Stay real, my dear, and I hope you're back on stream this week. Jay Bracer right behind Dan. No, wait a minute. Yeah, things got jacked up here. As it always does. Again, Dan Double O Alpha stretching out front. Poppy Keats currently in second with Jay Bracer right behind. Outer Unknown keeping it very tight coming into the first hairpin at the end of lap 1. DNZ having dropped quite a ways back into 6th position at this point. 5 cars leading the charge. Lap 1 complete and much cleaner than the last one with Dan opening his up to 1.3 seconds. Red Rider now down into 15th. 18th.
Yeah, I got hammered in the last hairpin.
Chief Blaze. Stan Lee again. Oh, I'm losing people here. Chief Blaze off deep into turn 1. As we watch D2 getting around TG Barry, who went wide. Maybe Donington not the track to use for a season opener. Mod's loving these British tracks for no reason. I'll be streaming again next week. At the moment, I'm only streaming once a week. That's no problem, Meerkat. I can understand that. You're only streaming once a week. That's awesome. I will do my best to be there. I love it when you stream. DNZ now on the inside around Rude. Able to keep the pass through the hairpin. You did just hear Robot Rider 1983, or 1883, depending on where you're at. Let's take a walk back through here. BB Lightfoot up on the back end of El Dermo. Again, Outer Unknown tight on Jay Bracer. I will do my best, folks. With 20 racers on track today, it is not easy with only one camera keeping up on everything. But wonderful to see 20 AM drivers out. Stop and go speeding for car number 49, EDLB, who dove into the pits quickly to clear that stop, but ends up paying the price for it with a stop-go penalty right up front. We jump back Rooster now. Our top 5 here, top 10 closing in very tight. Outer Unknown going very wide, opening the door for DNZ to come around. Into T1, going to go side by side with it. Able to get in and around him just barely, but clean nonetheless. As we watch DNZ, Outer Unknown, and Roodster all vie for position. As we take a look, Stan Lee, one of our BB Lightfoot, Stan Lee, Chief Blaze Red Rider, a couple of our faster AM class drivers now bumped back, obviously not having a good race up front. DNZ running a little off track, giving Outer Unknown the opportunity. Coming down the hill side by side now into the chicane. Outer Unknown owning that corner. And again, able to make the play as DNZ keeps it very clean. Now Roodster on the inside, looking to make that pass. And the Knight Who Says Knee, same thing. All three of these guys playing close racing today. Well, the great part, Barsky, is that now pit stops are flagged. So if they don't pit, they will be DQ'd as DNZ holds it through T1. Nipa now making the pass and able to get around Roodster. And tight as we look there. Ooh, who went off? Was that? Who was that? Somebody ran away. Blah out in the grass. Outer Unknown playing defense against DNZ right now. Some exciting racing today already in AM class. Never mind the restart. Now with a much cleaner kickoff to this first race. Some excellent tight racing. Everyone calm down and ready to just drive. Obviously some contention up front as we watched Dan 00 Alpha now all the way back into 6th place. Something we certainly missed at some point. Poppy Keats now your race leader with Jay Bracer, 2.5 off the pace. Outer Unknown, but DNZ wanting to take P3. And may try to make that plate with a little bit of drafting coming down into T1. Take a look back. Ferris having cleared Nap King. EDLB moving aside to let the faster drivers through. Ferris now wanting to catch up with the Knight Who Says Knee. And Dan still sitting in 6th position after something we missed up front. And DNZ giving Outer Known any rest in today's race so far. Able to cut in a little bit to Outer Known's wide turn through that hairpin, but not enough to take it into T1. I think Dan is who we saw go off course earlier that I was unable to focus on because names weren't right over the cars. But I believe it was that same livery, so that would have put him out there. Ferris now close on the back of D2 Again, great to see D2 back on track after an extended break over the summer. EDLB having cleared that 30-second stop-go. And the brothers Grimm running tight towards the back of the field. Red Rider on the back end of Chief Blaze right now. With Stan Lee right there. Chief Blaze looking to make the play on Stan. Gonna go wide through the corner, and all three. Red Rider able to sneak through when Stan closes the door on Chief. And now Red wanting to get around, but going wide and into the dirt around the chicane off his line as he challenged Stan for that position. As things have now calmed down just a tad. Let's take a look at where we stand with 10 minutes gone, almost 11. Poppy Keats now up front, starting lap 7. Jay Bracer running number 2, 3.3 off the pace. Outer Known in third with Rudster, number 4. Dan 00 Alpha bringing up now number 5. DNZ having dropped off after challenging for quite a bit. Dan pushing his way back up front has already gotten around Outer Known. Again, Dan, one of our very fast F1 drivers, now bringing those skills to ACC GT3 racing here at Green Hell. He will be looking to make the play on Rooster very, very soon. We will keep an eye on that. The Knight Who Says Knee, Trip B's as we call him, number 7 right now. Nap King all the way up into number 8 after a late start and no qual. D2 Rev number 9 and Ferris, that is your top 10 right now. As we jump back, take a look, El Dermo on the back end of Palm Tree Oil. Down the hill we come into the first hairpin. Now Dan very quickly has closed in on Rooster. You know, I've watched Dan in F1 races. Dan is the type of driver who, for whatever reason, and I don't know how it happens, why it happens, I don't know where it comes from, but for some reason is able to go from last to first in a way that you would not believe. You know, again, set a very fast qual time, started off P1, got knocked back to P6 during the course of the opening of this race, and has already brought himself back up into 4th. Again, not someone who sits back and is content to stay in the position he is in. And Dan making the move on that hairpin. Great, one of the few passing positions you can take in this on Donington Park circuit. Able to clear Rootster, and now getting himself back up into 3rd. As we see, BB Lightfoot has taken his pit stop. And Dan now up into 3rd, clearing Rootster very smoothly. Next on the target is Jay Bracer. Again, someone we're not used to seeing, new racer, and something we're not used to seeing with a Honda running this close to the front of the pack. And him only 3.1 off of Poppy Keys' pace right now. So we jump back, we see Red Rider has cleared Chief Blaze again after his incident at the chicane, driving himself off into the dirt. But the three running together, Stan Lee, Red Rider, Chief Blaze towards the back. El Dermo now still on the back end of Palm Tree Oil, who has closed the gap with Nap King. Jump back up here. Outer Unknown again now on the back of DNZ. Meerkat, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you coming by for the races on Sunday. And I will look to catch you later this week. Stay awesome for me while you eat dinner. I know it's late over there. The Knight Who Says Knee not giving up either as we watch these three drivers come down the hill into the chicane. I have a feeling that chicane is the cause of many frustrations for many drivers, because if you hit it right, it is fantastic. You can blow right through it. If you hit it wrong, it can toss several positions for you if you're not careful. Bye, Meerkat. Have a great night. DNZ, Outer Known, and the Knight Who Says Knee now coming around again as we watch Chief Blaze heading out of the pits, clearing his mandatory stop. Outer Known with a little bit of a squirrel coming around the corner, giving the opening to Nay, and who is able to make the pass clean, heading back down the hill towards that chicane. How can you sub to me? Well, there should be a subscribe button, good sir. If you mouse over the video or right below it, there should be a subscribe button. You can hit that button, and that's how you gain a subscription to this channel. Again, Nay able to make the move, but not going to hold it for long. Outer Known wanting to push it back. But Blah able to hold on to it all the way through T1 and to head back downhill. Taking a look back now, Nap King able to try to make the pass on TG Berry, but unable to do so. TG heading into the pits now, giving up the position to Nap King. And Red Rider pulling up on the back of Stan Lee as he kicks up a little dirt. Someone should let him know that the green on that vehicle is not John Deere green. It's the wrong color for that. TG Berry into the pits, as we said, along with D2 Rev now. As we see more drivers start to clear those mandatory stops as we get near the halfway point of today's race. Jumping up, Palm Tree Oil. Sticking close to the back end of El Dermo. How can you sub with Prime? So when you click on subscribe, and when you do so, at least I know this works on PC, it should work on phone as well. There should be a little checkbox in there somewhere that says use my Prime membership. You have to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, however, first. As long as you've done that, there should be a little ticky box in there, because I just did it the other day for one of the people that I subscribe to. There should be a little tick box in there when you hit subscribe that says use my Prime sub, as long as you haven't already used it. If you've already used it somewhere, it won't be available until the month is up, 1 month later. Dan Double O Alpha still in third, but has now closed up the gap on Jay Bracer. Down to under 1 second. As Dan decides now is the time to hit the pits, he is going to come back on fresh tires and very, very strong. DNZ and Rootster still hanging together. EDLB back into the pits after already having cleared the mandatory stop. Not sure after bouncing across the grass several times to clear as a back marker. And I will say, folks, again, on these British tracks, being a back marker cannot be fun. I've never raced these tracks. I never raced these tracks in a league race, and it's really hard for me to comment on. But the fact is, I am a back marker, typically. As we see Blah and Ferris both head into the pits now. That being the case, trying to be the back marker during these races on these British tracks can't be easy. It's got to be stressful. You want to get out of the way. You want to move over for the guys that are faster than you. But at the same time, driving through the grass is not the way to do it, right? So something to keep in mind as we watch EDLB head back into the pits to possibly clear some damage. D2 Rev also into the pits at this point. DNZ continuing to stick to the back end of Rootster.
We are at the halfway mark. Keep pushing.
Red Rider now as well has closed the gap on Stan Lee. Who is again himself on the back of El Derno. Try and pull that camera back. I know sometimes it likes to get itself into the closer broadcast camera. Try and pull that back a little bit. Red going deep into the corner with El Derno as Stan tries to keep it a little tighter. And Red into the pits. Let's take a focus on Stan now. As we see if El Dermo can get past him. Jay Bracer as well now into the pits, clearing that mandatory stop. So we take a look. Our top 8 at this point have not cleared that stop. Red Rider we see is in with his, along with Snoopy Pierre and TG Berry. So we will have to see where Dan Double O Alpha, who we know, along with Jay Bracer, was climbing the ranks prior to those pit stops, and a drive-through for track limits to TG Berry. That will cost him, at least it's a short stop here at Donington. But now Poppy Keys and Rootster both heading into the pits, opening up first position for DNZ, at least for a little while. Pit stops continue to happen. Let's check in with everyone. Over half our race gone. 20 minutes left to go. Poppy Keys, DNZ currently leading. Poppy Keys and Rooster both into the pits. Outer Unknown now into second. Palm Tree Oil still out on track in that Lexus with no pit stop cleared. Stanley and El Dermo into the pits. Nap King currently running in 8th. Dan Double Alpha in 9th. But now only 2 people ahead of him who have cleared pit stops. And Dan coming out just ahead of Poppy Keys from that pit stop. So as our top 4 who have not yet cleared go into the pits, we will see where Dan lands in relation to Mr. Keys. In regards to where everyone falls out once pit stops are cleared. Someone in chat correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not recall Dan Double Alpha driving the BMW in the past. I could be wrong about that. As we go down and take a look, Chief Blaze Red Rider, the Brothers Grimm are again running together. I decided I'm going to start driving the Jaguar just because nobody else does. Just for fun. Because there's never one on track. And Chief Blaze now trying to keep pace with Red. Nap King in the pits. Dan now number 4. All 3 of our front drivers in the pits. DNZ clearing his stop right now. But Dan has taken P1 from his hands, getting out ahead, just ahead, as Poppy came out of the pits. Dan able to clear T1 just in time, now with a 2.1 second lead. When you pit and how fast you pit do matter, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Palm Tree Oil clearing their stop. Heading back out on track. As again, the cameraman loses his mind in the pits for whatever reason. Things calm down now. 17.5 minutes left to go. Dan Double Alpha leads the number 97 BMW. Poppy Keys 2 seconds off pace at this point in that Porsche. Jay Bracer, again another new racer, doing very well in number 3 right now, along with Rootster in number 4 and DNZ in number 5 position. All 3 new racers, unless someone can tell me otherwise. The Knight Who Says Knee, currently in number 6 in that AMG Mercedes. Outer Known, running a strong number 8. Ferris in number 7 now. Things still changing around on me here as track updates. Pierre, the only person left on track to not yet clear a pit stop, and we are down to 18 drivers. And something everyone should keep in mind is you should not leave, even if you feel you're in last place, you don't want to drive anymore. Outer Known just disconnected. Now that could be due to no fault of his own, right? We know that. And he just joined back in, so I'm going to have to assume that through no fault of his own. However, we did start with 20 drivers. Now, I'm unsure who else disconnected, but something that everyone should be reminded of. Never leave the race. Points run all the way through positions 1 through 20. So even if you have a bad race, you're still going to garner points. And if it's your worst race of the season, you get to drop it, right? Outer Known is back. We'll see what happens there. And if he's able to join back in. That said, again, Pierre, the only one to not yet clear his pit stop. Currently running in number 8. And let's take a look and see if we can tell. I don't think we can tell fastest laps. It's just not, it's not going to show us. It's just not going to show us. Sorry, Peanut Butter. Xbox lacks that ability. All of our drivers relatively well spread out at this point. Even D2 sitting down here in the pits, greened up. D2 has probably given up at this point, but that's okay. He will still garner points for today's race, as will Outer Unknown, or Outer Known. There we see Pierre has now indeed headed in to clear that mandatory stop. Poppy unable to match Dan's pace, now sitting 3.8 off. As we watch Dan come around for one more lap. 14 minutes left to go in today's AM class race. Outer Known coming back out on track. Well, given the 1:27 qual time, I think anyone on track today with the M class is going to have trouble matching Dan's pace, and more than likely Dan will not be in an M class racer within the next few weeks, if I had to guess. We take a look back. Nap King now was tightening up on the back end of Chief Blaze, and it looks like got around, made the pass. Very quickly made the pass with a 3.2 second gap at this point. And this, folks, is where not having real-time timing hurts us, because we can't catch those things before they happen. Stan Lee still running strong in 10th position right now. That red Porsche. You know what, Ethan? You're not wrong. Dan is rapid in F1, and again, Dan's one of those drivers that, from what I've seen in his F1 racing and now here, he's got a crazy pace. He's very fast. And not only is he very fast, but he's very clean. And he is very, very good at getting ahead. Meaning, at one point in today's race, he was already all the way down to 6th. And was able to very quickly and rather easily climb his way back up into 1st position. Part of that being, pit stops and everything else came out just ahead of Poppy from the pits. Now Chief Blaze playing back marker to Dan. But yeah, he's able to climb ranks. And as you said, he went from last at Singapore in the F1 race to claim the win. You don't get to do that without knowing what you're doing, as Chief Blaze goes wide, allowing Dan to get on by. He's only in AM because his original time trial submission put him in AM, and he convincingly claimed to lose some pace due to changing the car. Well. Well, I think it's time for him to run that again and not let him sandbag. Just over 10.5 minutes left to go this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Poppy Keys still running in 2nd, but now a 7.2 second gap to Dan 00 Alpha. Jay Bracer in 3rd, with Roodster closing to within less than a second now. So we head back down the hill into that chicane. But TG, to be fair as well, I mean, I don't know about it, dance times or what have you, but I got told earlier today, again, after posting the video I did of some hot laps with the new equipment, just over a 144, or I'm sorry, just over a 145 lap time at Imola. I was told that back in the day, the cutoff for Imola was 145 to be a pro driver, and I'll tell you right now, I am not a pro driver, so I think the new system works well. We just got to make sure Dan runs it again. As far as the hot stint versus the hot lap, right? So. Jay Brace are able to stretch it out just a little bit over Roadster, but both still driving very strong. And in Hondas, and again, something we're not used to seeing here at Green Hell Racing is two Hondas in that top 5. First of all, there are very few of them on track with us ever. Second of all, to see them near the front was rare, even when we did have a few running. So good to see some more variety towards the front of the grid as we watch today. Rooster doing his best to close that gap on Bracer. And yeah, Outer Known got dropped again. I'm unsure as to who dropped earlier. We did start with 20 drivers today and are now down to 19 with Outer Known unable to stay connected. And more than likely going to finish in 18th, which is a shame because he was doing so well. But again, Roadster right now coming back around at T1, continuing to apply pressure on Jay Bracer. Yep, Barsky caught it. EDLB is gone. Correct. Bracer with just a little warble coming out of that corner. Not enough for Rooster to take advantage of. Going for that up front view. Again, Bracer with a little slide coming through T1. Going up the hill. Not quite able to clear it before we get to the slower right-hander at the top. Roots are certainly pushing hard. And now Snoopy with a drive-through. And it looks as though DNZ has joined the party that Rootster and Jay Bracer were having together. And will look to complicate things in the last 5 minutes of this race. BB Lightfoot now into the pits. And then look, I will give it up for Outer Known. I mean, you know, disconnected twice, joined back in twice, and you know what? Puts himself back out on track. He doesn't just stop. So good for him. So the battle right now for third as DNZ closes in on Rootster very quickly. And a little bit of a warble from him as well. As we come up towards the top of the hill, Rootster now having to play defense and not able to concentrate on his battle with Jay Bracer, giving Bracer the opportunity to stretch it out a little bit. We'll see how they do, all three of them getting hung up with a back marker in front of them. Rootster clearing a path, lost it a little bit through the chicane and letting DNZ go on by. And now Bracer, possibly under threat from DNZ instead of Rooster. We know DNZ qualified very high, little trouble at the beginning of the race, and has now worked himself back up. So we'll see how much defense he ends up having to play. Stolowski, if you lose that race because of a time penalty, it's because you didn't go into the pit, sir. That's no reason to revolt. There's only 2 of you that didn't pit. I don't know what to tell you, but we don't have that. We're not going to have that here. We won't have that over Discord, my friend. So I wish you luck with that argument. DNZ now coming up alongside. Can he get far enough up the hill before heading into the downhill? Not quite. And DNZ quickly makes the pass now, cutting back in front of Bracer before they can get to that hairpin. Excellent pass. All three of them still behind a back marker, but able to make the play. So Stolowski, if you head to the Discord and you head to ACC announcements under the Xbox tournament section, up about, well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th message up, you will see exactly why 12 out of 14 drivers pitted during that race. Full stop. Jay Bracer now still applying pressure to DNZ after that pass. And all three now having cleared the back marker. Rude not far back, still able to hold on and play challenge here. Poppy Keys has now closed the gap to Dan down to 2.2 seconds. Now, was this because of back markers? Quite possibly. And as we jump back here, Palm Tree Oil now chasing down El Dermo in the last half a minute of today's race. As we come into the final lap, El Dermo going way wide. Palm Tree Oil able to cleanly get around and pick up that position, putting himself into P8 towards the end of the race. So after a very, very rocky start, an excellent finish to our race today. Some clean passing. Excellent, excellent passing during today's race. Currently leading with the race finished, and Dan on the final lap. Dan Double Alpha leading out, heading back downhill into the chicane. Poppy Keys, though, it's certainly a challenger, having closed that gap down during the last few laps to 2.4 seconds. Jay Bracer, DNZ, excellent passing towards the end to pick up P3, with Jay Bracer and Rudester sticking close the entire time. The Knight Who Says Knee in number 6 currently having to fend off Ferris as we come towards the end of the race. Ferris dipping a toe into the grass.
The leader has finished the race.
And there you have it, folks. Dan Double Alpha crosses the finish line in first. Qualled first. Certainly a rocky start to the race, ending up in P6 at one point before finally able to jump back up and earn his way back up towards the front and ending up in first place today. Jay Bracer finishes in third, DNZ in fourth, with Rooster right behind him in fifth. The Knight Who Says Knee currently still fighting Ferris off here towards the end of the race. It's all going to come down to these final two turns. Ferris closing the gap very quickly. Knee looking to go inside. Holding it for now, but this gives Ferris the advantage coming into this last turn. And Ferris is able to make that pass in the final hairpin and holding on to it into the straight to cross over the start-finish line, jumping himself up into sixth, just ahead of the Knight Who Says Knee. Excellent driving right at the end. Palm Tree Oil clocking in number 8 with El Dermo number 9. Red Rider finishing in number 10. And there is your top 10 for today. I am Stan Lee, bringing that Porsche down the straight to finish out your race, folks.